viewers and subscribers alike, and a warm welcome back to the DrMBalmer channel. Now, this is the part 3 of the GTX MSI GTX960 overclocking series. And for those of you who haven't followed the first overclocking series, the GTX950, please have a look at that one if you're interested in GPU overclocking and 3D Mark Hall of Fame world record GPU CPU combination stuff. We got both Firestrike and Timespy world records for both Firestrike and Timespy. Yeah, this is the current system, and at the moment I'm running Intel GPU stress test. So in the previous part 2 we did a tear down of the GPU and a repaste of the GPU die, and we achieved some massive temperature decreases. So now the firm mark has been running for a little while, and we're at a hotspot of 70 and GPU temperature of 61 or 62. Fan speed is only 34% on the GPU, and we're at 110 TDP, and yeah, we had some issues at an overclock of an offset about 150 on the core. When we had that, the system crashed. So which was very interesting, and my theory is that it was GPU core sort of related, but my theory is that since we only have 108 maximum power limit and we're at 111 sometimes, we're hitting the power limit ceiling here. And the thing is that so we're at 1.15 or 1.175 volts, and this generation of GPUs had I believe a ceiling of about 1.2 volts. So yeah, my theory is that at 150 core, the maybe the power goes up because we can see that we're power limited, and if the voltage goes up, maybe we crash because of that. So there isn't power available for other parts, like on the board, for instance the memory. I'm not sure, but well, this is running here in the background. It seems to be running fine, but if I on the fly set this to the problematic 150 and apply it, what happens then? Does anything happen? 1465 megahertz. We should remember that yeah, we're now at about 114 TDP, although the card only allows 108. And maybe, I don't know which way around it goes. If it seems like it lowers the voltage a bit, maybe to stay within the TDP target. It's jumping around a lot more, which might affect stability. So if I close this, because the thing is that we managed to get it running, the Firemark, but after closing it, the system crashed. So if I close it now, we're still running. Okay, so what if I do a run just with the 150 core and start Firemark? Oh, we have Firemark running, sorry. If we run the 180 preset and see if it crashes again. We'll have this open at the same time. Have a look at the voltages and stuff. TDP. So the bench is running. Let's see what happens after the run finishes, if it finishes. As we are at 150 offset on the core. So 1.13 volts, 1.11. I suspect that maybe the voltage is lowered to stay within TDP target, but the voltage is then not enough, perhaps. And maybe we get a blue screen because of that. But why did we crash after the run had finished? In the second part of this series. So right now we have some stuff here running at the same time, but let's see if we get a crash now or not. No, no crashing actually. So did we fix the problem last time with the tweaks on the Northbridge memory controller and stuff? Maybe that actually helped. 2561 points, but now we had stuff running at the same time, so that will affect, of course, the scores. But in that case, let's start off at 150 core and running Firemark. So yeah, let's do a real run, and I will pause momentarily and return once the benchmark is finishing. Right, the benchmark is almost finished. Let's see what happens. $2,615 points, I believe it says, and so far no crashing. So let's upload the score and see what it means. Alright, so our stock run on the 960 was 2517 points on Firemark, and then at a 125 core offset we got 2608, and now at 150 core offset we got 2615. So yeah, let's calculate the difference here. So it's almost an increase of 4% in terms of points. And we had an FPS of 44, and on stock we had 42. And yeah, so I also brought up the numbers for the GTX 950 from before with a 150 core offset, and then we had 39 FPS and 2344 points. So yeah. However, let's continue with some 3D Mark and see what the standings are right now. In terms of Timespy, we're currently at 5th place, which is really nice. 2,371 points. And if we choose Firestrike, let's see here, we're at 20th place with a score of 6131, I believe. 6131. So yeah, Great. Let's do a run at 150 core, I think, while we have it set, and in 3D Mark, starting with Firestrike. Yeah, so Firestrike it is. Didn't crash at the start. 6126. I believe we had 6131 to beat, so we're a little bit lower. Let me just adjust this and bring up some notepad numbers. Yeah, actually it's not as bad as it looks, the performance regression, because the 150 core, we actually got a GPU score of 8115, which is quite a lot higher actually than 8083. However, physics score fell back almost 50 points, and combined score a few points as well, so 15 points or so. So maybe that's the reason. But okay, we have our the good thing is that the GPU score actually went up quite significantly. Maybe a rerun would help here. So, but let's go with this for now and run Timespy and see what happens there. So, Timespy it is. So Firestrike is not as much of a taxing load as Timespy, so we'll see what will happen here. So Timespy didn't crash as well, which is nice. 2381. I believe that is our best so far. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's correct actually. It is our best score so far with a margin of 10 points on the overall. The GPU increased by almost 20 points. Actually, a little bit more, 21 points. And the CPU is still lacking behind today for some reason. So if this would have been at 2145, maybe it would have hit 2400 points here. So, but this is great actually. So 10 points overall score in Timespy is not a little, so it's actually quite good. And the fact that both Timespy and Firestrike both are running currently at 150 core is good. So let's look at the results online. Okay, so Timespy 960, 1750K, 2381. We're still in 5th place. We only need 9 points to get to a shared 4th place, and then only 5 points more to get to the bronze. So we're on a good path here, I think. So how about we try to increase the core to, yeah, what can we expect? Maybe 160. Considering the crashes we got at 150 before, we're a little, I believe we're on the edge here on the core, the edge of stability maybe, soon. But Timespy was still running, but I'm afraid to increase this by too much at a time. So let's go for 160. Yeah, and go with the Firestrike. Now let's have a look at the FPS counter, actually. So 1135 FPS or so we had on the previous run in this test as it was finishing. Number of frames. So let's zoom in a bit on that and see almost there. Oh yeah, that was about 1150 or so, I think. And in this test, about 1300 and let's see here, 1360. So let's have a look. 1360. Yeah, maybe 65 or something at the end. This is pretty much a physics test, so it has about 325 frames or so. And this last test in Firestrike, we had about 250 on the combined test. 215 frames. It's a very short run, so let's zoom in on it immediately. 215, so yeah. Yeah, maybe we're at the same place there. About 215 or so. 213, 215. And let's see what the score is like. $61.94. Well, I believe that is a pretty massive increase, actually. Let me bring up the notepad. Yeah, I'm not mistaken. 61.94 is our highest by a huge margin, actually. So maybe the 150 core run was not a great run. So we should have landed somewhere in between 131 and 194. But we got 61.94 now. GPU score has a massive increase to 8,225. And we saw that on the frame counter there. So the physics score is also back on track a little bit. Not the highest at 53.92, but 53.65 is higher than 53.35. Combined score 23.65 is actually the highest. So very good actually. I want to have a look online. So 6194 we got now. The best online is 6404. So let's have a look there. Okay, Firestrike 61. Let's see here, 94. Yeah, 13th. And previously we were at 20th place. Yeah, now we're 21st here on the 6131 run. So we have advanced quite a bit. 13th, yeah. Why not? And graphics score 8225. Yeah, that's still a bit lower than some of these scores, but the one at 8th place is at 8250, which is pretty much where we're at. So let's see here, 4471 CPU clock, GPU core clock. So let's see here, GPU core clock 1501, but the memory we're still lacking a bit, so we will get there. Yeah, 2395, that's definitely an increase from the 160 core offset, and it's an increase from the 2381 max we had on the 150 core. So great run. GPU 2445, CPU 2149, so we're back on track there as well on the CPU. So let's compare online and see how we fare. We're pretty close to world record here, so let's have a look. Okay, Timespy, let's have a look here. Don't have to scroll too far. We are at the same score, yeah, as the bronze medalist here, 2395, but with a graphics score that is significantly lower at 2445 instead of 2659. So that's awesome. Yeah, GPU clock 1516 megahertz, and the VRAM at significantly lower speeds. Okay, but let's keep pushing it until we run out of luck. And so what did we have previously on the 950? On the 950 we had 195 after 175. So instead of 5469 overall score, we have a 6207 now on Firestrike. So 195, that's the question. That's 20 megahertz extra. But yeah, I suppose 195 it is. Now we're really pushing it, I believe, on the 960, which has more stream processors and stuff. So the question is if it will handle it. Maybe on Firestrike. So 1155 to beat frames. It seemed lower. $1370 or so to beat here. 1370. Oh yeah, that was higher. That was like 85 or something, I believe. Physics test 327, no change there. $215. Yeah, it's somewhere around there. Maybe some frame lower. We didn't crash at least. So let's see what we get. 6212. Yeah, that's a little bit higher, I believe. Yeah, 6212 is higher. That's good. 5 points extra. 8261. Now that's quite a large increase still, and on the GPU. So I mean, that's very good. And the physics also increased, but the combined score decreased a bit. And we saw that in the combined test that, yeah, we didn't quite reach 215 frames maybe. So compared to the 950 at 195 core, we had a 5506 there. And there we reached about 200 core maximum before we started to have problems in Firestrike. We did eventually do a run at 215 on the 950, which gave us a good score. But yeah, so far 6212. Let's see if that gives us any advantage in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, so we didn't move anyone down in the list except for our previous run at 6207 here, but yeah, we had a good 1537 megahertz on the clock here, on the core. Very good. Still 12th place then. Yeah. We need to reach, however, 6404 or 6405 preferably in Firestrike. But let's run Timespy then and see if we can see any gains there. I forgot about the... Let's see if it works anyway. Oops. Okay, so yeah, it seems to me that now we're at a point where the core overclocking is a bit too much for Timespy. And I believe we saw that previously as well on the 950 overclocking. So let's have a look at that. If I bring up my sheet, so we managed to do a run. I believe we could run stably at about 200 core on Firestrike. We did one run at 215 actually, but it wasn't easy. On Timespy, let's see here, I actually have the limits here. Yeah, Timespy had a limit of 195 core on the 950, but now we're getting problems on 195 on the 960. Yeah, I think that the plan forward is to see how far we can bring the core clock for Firestrike exclusively first, to see where the ceiling is there, and then we know that 195, so I will note it down that 195 was a crash on Timespy, so I will do something like this. Crash on graphics test 1. Yes. So now we know maybe 190 would work. We can try that, but we will focus now on Firestrike and see how far we can push there. But we're sort of at the limits here for stability, so it's not 100% stable because the GPU, because the core is not keeping up in Timespy, so it's pretty much not stable for sustained load. Okay, great. So let's continue by pushing it slowly upwards and running Firestrike until we fail in a similar manner, perhaps. So 195 was too much for Timespy, but we got a crash on GT1. But for Firestrike, I believe we have a chance here. So at 195 we did finish with a score of 6212. For 950 we also tried 200 on the core and got it running, and then we sort of backed off to 195 for a while, and then at the very end we managed to do a run at 215 core and 850 mem, which gave us our highest score. So let's try 200, I suppose. 200 for the core, and run only Firestrike. So let's set 200 here. And go for Firestrike. Our highest score is 6212 at 195 core so far. 6212. So that's the score to beat. So the run has finished, but we got 6184, and that is lower than we had before. So let me just silence the fans a bit and bring up the notepad as usual and see what happened here. So yeah, we had a 6212 and now we got 6184 on 200 core. Question is why, but 6184. GPU, yeah, GPU is lower, 8196, 5341 on physics, and combined 2375. Maybe we had a bad run, but okay, we at least have one run at 200, which we know works. 200 works in Firestrike. So I think that yeah, let's continue. I believe that should we try 210 maybe? Is that risky? I don't know. Let's find out. Do a rerun here and see what that looks like. Yeah, that's what that looked like. It looked like a crash to me. So 210 for Firestrike is not great, right? So let's 195 was too much for Timespy. We haven't found out exactly which frequency would be okay, but we will find out eventually. So 205 then. Let's do a binary search here. 205, run again, and see where that gets us. Okay, we got an error immediately here. Maybe this thing was in the way, so I shall try it one more time. Yeah, we didn't get too far, but test run was cancelled by user, it says. Maybe I need to restart 3DMark. Let me try that. 3DMark has been restarted, and Firestrike is now starting. So let's see if we have any better luck at 205 on the core. No, test run was cancelled by user, so he doesn't like to run. Okay, let's I think it's a good idea to do a rerun at 200 core, because we got a very low score. Maybe we can have a better run. So 200 on Firestrike. Of course, problem is that we don't have the power headroom needed, I suspect, to push higher on the core at least. So 200, let's do a rerun. This one worked last time, at least. At least it started, yeah. So about 1135 frames was our best run previously. So let's see if we can beat that. 1135. Oh yeah, that was higher. I saw 40 something. Oh, sorry, that was 1155, not 35. So maybe it wasn't as good as I thought. On this test, 1385 was among the higher frame counts we saw. 1385 or so. Okay, and we crashed. So 200 isn't repeatably stable on Firestrike either. But we did get a run, but it wasn't very good. So 195 was actually our best score, I believe. But that's good to know. So we can say that maybe something like rerun crashed graphics test 2. So yeah, 195 core seems to be yes. Okay. Very interesting. So also interesting that we could almost reach as high as on the 950 with 120 power in the core offset, but still we're limited. And yeah, I think that the way to go now is to run 195, I think, and continue with memory VRAM overclocking. But for Timespy, so we failed at, let's see here, we failed on the 195 core. Let's try to lower that to 190, sorry, 190, and try Timespy and find out the maximum there. But actually, of course, we could try something like 199 here for Firestrike first and see if we close in on 195. Do we get a higher score? I will not loop through all these runs on video, but I will do these runs, and if one of them is successful, I will save that video of it. So yeah, I mean, we did run at 200 once, so therefore I'm trying 199. Maybe we can get a good run or something higher than 195. So let's try that. No, 199 was a no-go either. So very interesting that we got a run at 200, but it wasn't a very high score there, so maybe it wasn't great. So okay, let's try the other way around, maybe 197. Sort of in the middle, and yeah, the fan ramp we should have. Yeah, so this run seems to have finished at 197 offset in the core, but I saw on the first and second tests we had, especially on the first one, we had quite a lot of flickering in different artifacting sort of, and flickering in green colors and stuff. And 6179 is lower, so yeah, let me note this down. Yeah, so this is what it looks like. 199 core crash, 197 core 6179, but the GPU 8191, a lot lower than we had previously on the 195 core and stuff. So and we saw artifacting, and that of course may affect the score as well, maybe. So I will be trying 196 and see what that gives. So 196. Yeah. Okay, this time around it seems to have passed, but let's see what the score will be like. So 6212 I believe was our highest. 6210. Well, it's very close. Now let's have a closer look. So yeah, 196 core. So 196 core, it wasn't stable the first time around, but 6210, it is sort of a repeat of the 195, and 81, let's see here, 8266 on the GPU. That is actually higher. 8266, that's higher than the 8261 that we got on 195. Physics 5326, so it's lower, and combined 2374. So yeah, actually the GPU score was a little bit higher, but I will write crashed first time. So most stable was 195, as I interpret it. So most stable, although we only did one run, but yeah. So I think that the 195, we can say that that is currently our highest for Firestrike, but then when we overclock the memory, maybe we can yeah, when we find a maximum memory offset on the VRAM, then we can do a run at 196 and so forth for Firestrike as well, and see if we can get some even higher scores on the very last runs there. But focusing on Timespy then, so 195 was too much. Let's try 190 for Timespy, and I believe that before running 195 on Timespy we had 175 maybe. So Timespy, yeah, 175. So 190 we'll still have a good chance to maybe beat 2400 points. That would be nice, if possible, but maybe we'll crash. So let's find that out. That test also passed. Now the final CPU test hopefully won't crash here on the CPU. So I have added this extra fan here, the orange one here. Now it's spinning, so it's blowing air right into the GPU, and it's not complaining, so it doesn't even spin up its fans during the graphics tests, which is nice. So let's hope that this passes as well, and I believe I saw some higher frame counts on the graphics tests than I've seen before, so if this finishes, then we might get a good score. To me that looked like a successful run, so ooh, exciting. Can we pass the 2400 point barrier, or did we get a lower score? Let's find out. Ooh, 2404. My. So yeah, my friends, we passed the ultimate sort of current test. Let me lower the fans and bring up the notepad. Yes, so the GPU indeed achieved 2458, which is higher than we have seen before. CPU 2140, it's a bit lower than 2149 at 175 core, but it's 9 points. Yeah, it's a quite a bit, but it's okay at least. And 2404, yeah, very good. Now we're really closing in on the gold position here in the rankings, I suppose. 3D Marketing fetch these scores here, so let's go online and find out. Yes, my friends, so previously we had the same score as number 3 on the list then, 2395, and now we have taken the third bronze spot here and achieved 2404. So and we haven't started memory overclocking yet, so yeah, I mean, we're 22 points away from the silver spot, but top 3, there we go. For now, that's not bad at all. But 195, I mean, maybe we should no, 190 on the core. 195 was too much, that we know. So will, for instance, 192 work? And will it have any positive effect or not? Let's find that out. Let's hope that didn't mess things up. Okay, so this did run, but I believe we get a lower score if I didn't see the frame counter incorrectly. A little bit lower, I would suspect. Yeah, 2399, look at that. So yeah, I mean, it's not far off, but let's note it down there. So 24, sorry, not 24, 2499 would be nice. 2399. GPU 2451, CPU 2143. So we're hovering around these numbers here, but we're still higher than at 175, but lower than 2404. So yeah, I mean, it's run-to-run variance. Maybe I will only increase a couple of megahertz. I will do a rerun and do it on 193. See if that's stable. So 193. Like that. And run this again. Let's see if we crash or not. Okay, so we didn't crash once again, but I believe the frame counts were lower and we got the same exact score on the overall. So let's have a look. Yeah, so not much happened here. We got 1 point higher on the GPU, but 3 points lower on the CPU. So yeah, but no crashing. So 194 then, I suppose. 194. Okay. And run again. So very interesting. The highest that we got was still at 190 on the core so far. 2,404 points, even though we're not far away now. I mean, 2399 is only 5 points away, but 5 points in Timespy can be a lot still, because Timespy is kind of quirky like that. So let's see if 194 works. So yeah, maybe we didn't crash, and maybe we get a score higher than 2,404, hopefully, but it will be around there, I suspect. Oh yeah, 2406. So increased from 2404 to 2406. That won't move us into a higher position in the charts, but it is a higher score for sure. So let's note it down. And yeah, so we got at 194 core, 2406 overall, GPU 2459, so that's 1 point higher than we got on the 2404 overall score, 2458 on the GPU. And CPU is 2148. We have seen 2149 at 175 core, but we're pretty much there. A new highest, new best. But just for the sake of it then. So is 195 still crashing then? Let's set 195 once again and confirm will it crash or not. So 195 Timespy rerun, let's go. So we crashed in 195 last time we tried it. Let's see if that still holds true. Yeah, so interestingly enough, we didn't crash in 195 this time. Could it be the extra fan that I'm having blowing air into the GPU? I don't know, it shouldn't be, I suspect, but of course it could be, but very interesting. Let's see what kind of score we get now. So 2404. So yeah, that's still within run-to-run variance, so to speak, but it did run. So let's see here. Yeah, we'll copy this row. So 195 core, 2404. We crashed in GT1 previously on 195, so 2457, a little lower on the GPU and a couple of points lower on the CPU, but otherwise remarkably stable. So we repeated our 190 core offset score. Okay, but it didn't crash, but I think that it's not considered stable. 194 was perhaps our best so far. But let's... I will keep pushing it until it fails again here. And I suppose it should happen pretty soon. So 2405. Yeah, it's still right in the middle there. So yeah, we got the same exact GPU score, 2457, but CPU score was higher, so that's what we got, 2405. But that's interesting because 197 was the highest we could run Firestrike, and now we're at 197. If I just do it like that and then do a rerun. Yeah, no crashing. So the extra fan must be doing its thing, because we're running at lower temperature, and maybe we'll get lower current leakage. That is a theory. So maybe I should manually set the GPU fan speed to 100% and have the extra fan just to keep everything nice and cool, and maybe we can reach even higher scores. So now we got 2405 again, and let's see what has changed. So yeah, we got 2459 on the GPU, which we have had before, but the CPU was 2140, and when we had 2148 we got 2406 on that overall. So yeah, I believe that setting the fan speeds even higher on the GPU itself, manually to 100% or something, and having the extra fan there might be the way to go, and maybe we can run at even higher clocks. So let's try that, shall we? Yeah, so actually I have been thinking a little bit, and I have switched away right now from my external microphone because my phone is running low on battery, so I had to connect the charger, and my microphone is USB-C as well, so I couldn't do both at the same time currently. But anyway, so bear with me. I was thinking a little bit regarding the fan here, the fans on the GPU. So as I mentioned, what I think is happening, at least my theory right now, is that the current leakage, I mean, it decreases with decreased temperatures, and since the GPU's fans, they don't start to spin right now until the GPU gets up in the 60s or so Celsius. Having added this orange fan, which is making some noise right now and blowing a lot of air actually right into the GPU, and that makes the fans stand still during all the testing so far in Timespy and Firestrike, for instance. So as I said, I wanted to maybe set the fans to 100% or something on the GPU, but now I'm thinking that, I mean, we're at the limit of the TDP of the entire board, which is maxed out at 108% here. So the fans, they draw some, actually not an insignificant amount of power, and that in turn will lower the possible clocks we can run if we're running the fans from the board. I believe those fans are included in the max TDP value here. So having the extra fan there, I believe maybe that's good, and if we can keep it cool without running the fans on the GPU itself and keeping the board cool enough, then maybe that's a good thing. So anyway, therefore I believe that, okay, let's 197, let's try 200 and see if Timespy can run on 200. It didn't work for Firestrike, but we can try. Well, it worked once for Firestrike, I believe. We can try a Timespy and see if it makes any difference. And maybe we can run even higher frequencies on the core for Firestrike than we could before. So we'll try that as well. I won't record all these runs, but just the start and end, unless we crash, at which point we'll take a discussion further. So you know what? I saw some great increases actually in frame counts on the graphics tests, so I believe this will be our best shot here. 2352. Hang on. No, it isn't. I thought I saw some good frame counts, but 2352. Let's have a closer look. So you know, the GPU score increased a whole lot actually, but the CPU was, for some reason, it dropped extremely. 1721. That's some strange scores. My suspicion is that the computer is doing something in the background. Maybe Windows updated or something. I shall check. The configuration is still the same though. In hardware info here we can see that we're still overclocked to the same settings as before. So I can see no reason why the CPU would underperform suddenly. The fans are ramped up on the CPU. So I shall check if something's going on in the background. I couldn't see anything, so let's do a rerun. Because the GPU score was actually very uplifting. And as long as the CPU comes to its senses, then I believe that we should get quite the uplift in scores, an overall score. So let's have a look at the frame counts that we get here on GT1 and GT2 at the end of those tests. So in the first test, oh yeah, hang on a minute. What do I see here? Sorry. Now it's gone. I saw Windows Update there, but hopefully it's finished. So by now, yeah, Windows Update maybe ruined our run, but we didn't crash. Hopefully we won't crash this time either. No, it's not as high as I saw previous run. Maybe Windows Update is still running. But I saw like 920 or something, 925 maybe even. Yeah, 1030 maybe, and last run I saw 1050 I think so, but it's still higher than we have seen previously. Yeah, no crashing at least. Let's see what kind of score we get. Oh yeah, 2412. Now that is higher. So let's bring up the notepad. So yeah, we can see that 2412 we got now, which is a new best by 6 points from this score at 194 core. But the GPU is still underperforming. We only got 10 points more than our highest previous before the 2516 one. So I wonder if the GPU has more to give, but maybe we'll need a new rerun maybe. But the CPU is back on track at 2137, It's not the highest we've seen, so we definitely can do a better run. But this is great. We're really closing in on. Let's have a look at the rankings page. So here we are, Timespy. So we had 2406 as our highest previous, and now we have 2412. But we're still, 14 points away from our silver run. And that one had a score of 2651 on the graphics score, so we have a little more work to do. A little bit more, yeah. But I'm thinking, let me just allow the PC here to apply those updates on Windows Update and restart, and we'll make a rerun and have a look what that looks like. So PC has been restarted. I have paused the updates, and let's basically run Timespy again and see what gives. The rerun is finished, and 2415. It's our best so far. So now we're only 11 points, I believe, away from the silver run. So let's have a look. 2415, GPU 2471, couple of points, or couple of points, higher. CPU 2143, a little bit higher, but still, why don't we see this 2516 on the GPU? I will do a new rerun and we'll have a look. It should be possible, right? Okay, so have a look at that, 2419. We're advancing. So 4 more points. So let's have a look what happened. So 19 here we had. GPU 2475, still not 2516 though. CPU also a couple of points more, but still why don't we see 2459 on GPU? Oh well, I will keep rerunning until we get a lower score, I suppose, or the same score. As long as we get a higher score, I mean, that's great, right? So let's go for it. Okay. yeah, we got 2412, and this is slower again, so we can see that there's a variance, run-to-run variance. And let's see what we got. So yeah, the GPU score decreased a bit, but the CPU keeps increasing. 2147, a couple of points every time here, seems. And overall score was a little bit lower, but the point of all this is not only to do reruns until we get 1 point higher or something, but now we have done a few reruns on 200 core in Timespy with the external GPU fan, and yeah, we know that it works. It doesn't crash. We can do consecutive runs and it doesn't crash. Before we crashed on 195 core on GT1 already, first graphics test in Timespy. So that's very good to know. But let's then continue, and do I dare set 205 on the core? I suspect that we're at the limit here, perhaps, for as far as Timespy goes, but who knows? We can maybe gain something from a 205 core and do a new run. So yeah. Oh yeah, we didn't. Not only did we not crash, but we got a higher score, 2421, and I believe we need 2426 to share the second place in the list. So yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, 2421. So 5 points away from a shared silver ranking. GPU 2478, so we have increased a few points there. CPU a little lower, but we've had that. It's within run-to-run variance, since we had both 2143, 45, 47 on the same core. So yeah, not bad actually. And the fact that we're not crashing, I can't explain it other than, I mean, previously we crashed at 195 core in Timespy on the first graphics test, but now it has to be the external fan, so we're sort of saving some of the TDP power for the two fans on the GPU itself, so that it can actually boost to higher voltage and thereby drawing more current, more power, but we don't hit the limit that hard, perhaps, that we crash like with the fans running. Since when we increase the clocks here, the offset, the GPU will sort of ask for more voltage to support such a clock, and if the total TDP limit is reached, then I suppose we can't get more power, and then we crash. But yeah, let's try 210. I mean, this is not bad at all. We continue until we crash, basically. So yeah, now we crashed this time. I suppose 210 was very optimistic, but I'm very pleased so far. Extremely pleased. Getting the extra bump from 195 to 200 at 205 core worked. So let's do a run at 207 core and see what that looks like. So, yeah, 24-25. Now that's a score, because you know what? As a matter of fact, the 207 core, we didn't crash. That's a good thing, like on the 210. But we got 4 extra points, and we're 1 point away from the silver spot on the list. And GPU is 2483, which is higher, but not as high as 2516 though. CPU 2144, which is in the sort of run-to-run range. So 2425, yeah, 1 more point. This video is long, but I don't know about you, but I'm very keen on trying this out. So 208, is that a thing that might work? I don't know, so let's find out. Yeah, so we didn't crash actually on 208, but the score was lower. However, let's look a bit closer on this. So we lost basically on the CPU score, GPU score side of things. So yeah, we have 209 left to try. So let's do that. And this video is getting pretty long, so I believe that I will do 209 and then return to Firestrike after in the next video, in the next part. So 209. Let's go for that and see if it works. Yeah, so on 209 core, we didn't crash, but I saw artifacting, and we didn't get the highest score. So I would say 207 core is a good level to stay on for overclocking the VRAM. Yeah, this video is very long now, so I think that we will end it here, and in the next part we shall investigate what the maximum is for Firestrike once again, now that we can get higher clocks with the external fan. So yeah, 1 point away from the silver run, but we shall fix that soon enough, I think. So thank you so much for watching, and leave any comments below. Until next time, have a nice day. Bye bye.